So hello and welcome everybody. It's 8 p.m. UK time. We will be starting the last round of Formula Rookie this year soon. Obviously the interim league for GT3 here on AOR and Project CARS 2. I should be joined by Andrex, but he's kinda lost in the chat with the other drivers, so
I'm
he'll be
here.
joining us soon. Oh, he's here already. Well, we're driving on Oulton Park today. 2.2 mile, 3.6 kilometer circuit, 7 corners. A very nice track to race with those lower formula cars or just overall small or slow cars. From my experience at least. We'll see what will happen.
Yeah, they tend to provide fairly close racing with these ones. Obviously, the car you're not able to extract that much more out of a car if you're kind of trying to perfect the setup. So everybody's in theory got the same opportunity to be putting in the same similar sort of lap times. The slower the car is, the easier it is to drive. So generally speaking, the better the racing is. So we'll see what these boys can do at Oulton Park. It's a good track. It kind of suits these cars. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one for sure.
Well, today's probably the day when Tony Clifton's gonna take the championship for himself. Pretty much established himself to win already 2 rounds ago. I mean, last round probably got that right with the points. I mean, I didn't count it, so I don't know, but
Yeah, he's
I
20
think.
points clear of having the championship now. So he's
Oh,
got an 80-point lead. Well, actually, he's 18 points technically because you get a point for pole and a point for fastest lap. So he's got an 80-point lead over Inky Chris. You get 50 points for a win, so technically speaking, it's still open. Inky could get a double win, a pole in the fastest lap, and if Tony doesn't pick up more than 18 points, then it's viable. So you just need maybe a DNF for Tony in one race and a bad result in the second one, and very good results for Inky in both races. And it could just flip it around. It's a bit kind of far fetched, maybe a little bit, with Tony's run of form at the moment. Pretty much winning every single race apart from two, and those two races he didn't win, he came second. So, yeah, I think it definitely has to lose, but he's looking pretty comfortable at that.
well, almost everyone out on the grid. 6 cars not yet. Inky still in the pit lane. That's quite interesting. We are already 1 minute in. Yogurt was the first one to get out on the track. We'll probably see the first counter lap from him.
My
Already
game's
crossing
crashed.
the last corner.
I'm going to have to restart my game, but hopefully be back with you.
Oh, and we see Too Fast for You spinning out just after the first corner. It's fine though, I think the car is fine as well. Ink is still in the pit lane, could be a technical issue maybe. Or he just forgot to go out on the track, if that's possible.
I would say he's probably not forgotten to go out. I don't know if there's any. Certainly don't think there's any penalties against him to prevent him from partaking in the qualifying session. But
Well, I
yeah,
don't think
perhaps
so. I
just
didn't see any penalties for him, so
no.
could be. Oh, oh, he's still in. Daniel got back to the pit lane.
I can find the lobby again. Come back in again. give me director. Yes.
We see one car off, not sure who that is. Pickle taking a little bit of a trip on the grass. He's fine now. We only see a time from Yogurt so far, also as Turbo and Tony Clifton crossing the line now. Tony only wants so far to get into the 31s. Yogurt almost 7 times down on him. Jack Game now pushing his time and going into third. We slowly see people crossing the line for the first laps. Obviously not a short time to cross the finishing line with those cars that go pretty slowly, even on a short track like this. It can take pretty long. I think Dubai was the longest lap time.
Up to temperature and pressure.
Well, that as well.
So I think we'll just see a couple of kind of speculative laps to start with, just kind of getting it back into the groove, just finding the right lines and getting a clear bit of track, and then really going for it there. So as you said before, Clifton's already in P1 at the moment, so it's certainly showing signs of carrying on his pretty much perfect run of form. We'll see if he can continue that one, improve on that lap time. As you see Yogurt putting in a closer time there. Still P2 though, but just hundredths of a second behind Clifton just now. See Clifton
exactly 1/1000th of a second.
Indeed.
And as Turbo now crossing the line for second, also Tony Clifton going 30.5. That's a rapid time.
Yeah, tires and brake temperatures and everything else just starting to get up to optimal levels. You see him kind of just sliding around some of these corners, but just the right amount that it's not scrubbing off too much speed. You can see Ticklish Pickle Wickle there is up on his previous lap time, currently in P5 there.
Well, I must say he quite picked up the pace. He's 5th right now. A podium in last race on Sportsland Sugo. We can say it's pushing him to the limits now. Well, obviously it would be a great sight to see another podium from him, but we've got both races dry, so pretty much got it clear that Tony as Turbo and probably Inky will be the fastest guys. So if anything will happen, he can get the podium, but so far it doesn't look like it.
So as Turbo currently third in the championship there at the moment there, he is currently 37 points behind Inky Chris coming into this evening's double race format. So again, another opportunity to see if he can jump up to P2. He is too far behind Tony to be able to steal a championship at this stage. It's only possible that Inky Chris could beat Tony at this stage. If he gets a double win essentially and Tony doesn't score more than 18 points. We've got JJP kind of silently sitting in 4th in the championship at the moment there just now. I don't know where he is on the grid at the moment. I'm guessing that's 11th at the moment now.
Yes, I think so as well.
I assume it's JJ there. So we'll probably see if he improves on this lap there, jumps himself from 11th. It doesn't. It looks as if it's an out lap because that was 18 seconds down on his best. So, going a bit wild, hitting those inside curbs just a bit too hard there, lifting the front end up. It doesn't turn very well unless your wheels are in contact with a terra firma. So that messes up that lap. As Turbo still holding second at the moment with another good lap time there, a 30.5 there, only 0.2 of a second. Or a quarter of a second off Clifton at the moment.
Well, we see now 2 times into the 30s as Turbo posting 30.5, and the gap to the next car is 9/10. Jack Game sitting at 3rd, so they've pretty much got the fastest pace so far, unless someone really goes into the 30s so far. But Tony Clifton improving even more at the moment, still 30.2, but still better time than he did, and nothing so far can be a threat to him, I must say, except for Asturbo, but he's still a little bit slower.
Well, it's possible that the other people have not had quite optimal lap times yet there, so we've still got 6.5 minutes left to go. Still plenty of time for these guys to be throwing in some good lap times on the board. See, Inky currently in 8th at the moment there, so probably expect him to improve a little bit from there. I don't think qualifying's ever been Inky's strongest attribute in terms of racing, but he's another one of these clever racers, to be fair. He just knows when to attack and when not to attack, and he's patient, clean, safe driver out there, so often seem to be gathering handfuls of positions from other people having mistakes and issues. So the fact that he's currently P9 is not a major issue. The 2 seconds off pole time is perhaps, I suspect, a little bit more than he would like, but we'll see if that also improves in the remaining 5.5 minutes left of this session.
Well, as you said earlier, people still not posting their optimal lap times. We see a 13 seconds gap to pole at the moment from Espanol. Then we got Twisted 5 seconds off, so hopefully they will improve, but so far the rest is pretty much under 4 seconds behind Tony Clifton. Only 2 guys still in the 30s, 2 guys as well in the 31s. We hopefully will see some more guys, including possibly Inky Chris, with those faster lap times, but as you said, he can not be an optimal qualifier, which is seen pretty often, to be honest, in racing, especially in sim racing. Well, it's true for me as well. But
yeah,
we'll see
I've
how
never been a
he
strong qualifier in any stretch of the imagination. It's absolute certain that it's worst attribute. No shame in that at all. But I don't tend to make that much. I don't tend to put that much time and effort into qualifying, because that's not where you get the points. I would rather spend the time getting the car right for the actual race, where it's the important part. Yeah, it's nice to be up in the front end of the grid during the race, but if you're sacrificing a little bit of lap time from practicing your qualifying, then it could be a bit too much of a disadvantage. That just being ahead on the grid, that doesn't. If you're losing the lap times, then that's going to be a bigger kind of disadvantage being slower in a race than it is in qualifying. So, yeah, I've never been one to put too much time and effort into qualifying.
Well, I pretty often beat my qualifying times in the race. I saw some guys say the same stuff pretty much, so I don't know, but it seems like a
Somebody's taking a cone round with them.
pretty often a phenomenon happening. So
Not sure who that yellow and white car was that's managed to pick up a cone somewhere around the track and dragging that round with him.
I'm not sure as well.
There he is. Who was that? Who did he just have up there?
Oh, it could be Rob.
Yeah, he's got a cone on the right-hand side of his car there.
Oh.
Bringing that around for giving him a tour around Oulton Park. Don't think it'll be affecting the handling of his car, but oh, hello, I can see you. Hello, Mr. Cone. Oh, I think he's dropped him now. Mr. Ferret and his teammate directly ahead, maybe trying to help each other.
Oh, could be Slipstream, but I don't think in those cars. We also see someone behind them, so little train going on there. Now he led the car through. I think that was one of those Badger guys.
I think he's just pulling back and getting a bit of a gap so he can do a better run. We've got Inky has pulled up into P5 now with a 31.6. We've got a couple of other guys in the 31s as well. PBL and Cam also in the 31s there, so getting a little bit closer there, but still a fair spread. So we've got Clifton with a 30.2,
Well, Cameron
As
now going
Turbo,
into P6 with 31.7, so
indeed.
we have 7 guys now under a 32 second, 1 minute 32 second lap time.
Yeah, there's only a minute and a half left to go, so I don't think anybody will be leaving the pit now and improving their lap time by the time they've done an out lap and one flying lap. I don't think that the first flying lap's going to get you an optimal lap time. But so yeah, there's a bit of a spread after As Turbo. So Tony and As Turbo definitely showing the way around here at the moment in the qualifying session. Jack Game currently third, 1.2 seconds off pole there, which is quite a gap considering he's in P3 at the moment.
Yeah,
But
that's a
very
big
close to
gap.
Yogurt, right behind him, the 1.28 behind him. And then Inky is also not far away from the back of Yogurt, which is his teammate. I'm just going to see if I can find the team standings at the moment. I think the Alien Boys are currently second in the team championship, which they are indeed. They are 109 points behind, so they will not be able to catch Team Holy Rookie, which is indeed obviously Tony Clifton and JJ. So they have certainly clinched the team championship already. So that's that one done. But yeah,
Well,
we'll
someone going off there. Not sure who was this. Well, almost half of the grid now in the garage, and the qualifying session is now over. We still see a few cars on their hot laps, but most of them already in. So probably not anyone challenging Tony Clifton anymore, and he's gonna clinch that pole position here at Oulton Park.
Indeed, his dominant performance continues in pretty much every race so far this season here. Just managed to keep himself clean out of trouble, put in some fairly spectacular lap times, and managed to just come out on top pretty much every race apart from two, as I say. But even those, to have 2 second place finishes as your equal worst result.
Oh, and you're going
Is
into third now, and Inky
Inky up
Chris
to third.
just going 4 tenths to pole position. Now he clinches third. So we saw some people improving after all.
Indeed, on that very last minute as well. So in the final lap, just managing to put in that blistering lap time to put him just half a second behind Tony. Yover did indeed improve up to P4, and he's just over a second behind Tony Clifton's pole time.
Well, you could
So
say
there
Tony
is your grid.
Clifton is the Hamilton here around. As Turbo probably the Bottas, maybe the Vettel, as he had some worse races, but mostly keeping it up in the top 4. So after we see 3 guys in the 30s, Inky Chris going 130.6, but it's still Tony Clifton taking the pole position as expected.
Indeed. So yeah, Tony followed by As Turbo there. Inky Chris in third, Yogurt fourth. Got Jack Game fifth. Got Cameron sixth, PBL, and seventh followed by Ticklish Pickle Wickle, has put it on eighth on the grid. I think it's B Cliff in P9 there, and Rob rounding at the top 10. On the pole in 11th, and Mr. Ferret in 12th. You've got JJ, which is Tony's teammate, a little bit further back down the grid there than I suspect he'd like in 13th. You've got Death Cyrus in 14th there, and Mewcat 15th. On the left hand side of the grid there, Atomic on the right, and Green Machine. His teammate there's Phoenix on the left in 17th, and Twisted 18, Twisting 18.
Yep,
Roman
that's Twisted.
numericals escaping me temporarily there. We've got Kiss in P19 there, towards the back end of the grid there, and El Spano in 20th. And I think that is the last runner so far tonight. So 20 grid start. they will be doing their final prep there, just sorting themselves out, making sure they've got the right setups and the right amount of fuel and so on for this quick feature race, the feature race, shorter race, sprint race. See how that goes, and that will provide a reverse grid. I think it is for the top 16 drivers for the second main race. So yeah, they'll be just setting the cars up. It will be a standing start for race 1. So they will go on the green light, and in race 2 it will be a rolling start as they need to sort themselves out in the reverse grid order. Nice camera here showing the start here. Tony in P1, will he get the whole shot?
We're on the way for
Good
the
start
last
there.
race now.
It actually looked like a very good start from Inky Chris there as well in P3. He looks as if he might be challenging as Turbo around the outside. He has indeed, and he's actually managed to get through around the outside there. His teammate Yogurt not far behind, just giving Turbo a little bit of a push on. All looks pretty clean out there so far there. Don't see any contact or incidents there. All behaving themselves quite nicely there. Coming through the next main corner there, that's a semi-tight left-hander. Yogurt is definitely pressuring Turbo there. He's feeling the need to go defensive on the right-hand side there in this hairpin right-hander.
And all the cones are gone already. Track limits abused since lap 1. The Yogurt still pressuring Turbo
by moving the cones out the way. Tony Clifton still in the lead there.
Well, Inky pressuring Tony Clifton already. He's up to P2.
On a charge. Indeed. So Inky pretty much has to win both of these races. So he needs to be right there.
It's getting close.
Really close. He's challenging around the outside. It's be a brave person that manages to hold it around the outside. He's gone too wide.
He's into the grass.
He's to gather up again.
He's down to P4.
He has lost a couple of places there. Not what he wanted to do. Yogurt having a look up the inside of Turbo there, coming into the right-hander there. Does look as if he managed to pull that one off there. Got a slightly better exit despite holding the tighter line. Puts himself in behind Tony Clifton there.
And Jack came into the fight as well, right behind all of those 4 top runners. And he's getting close to Inky now, and he's through for P4.
Slingshot through. Very opportunistic move there. Just seizing on that mistake by Inky Chris, having a slightly bad exit there. So Inky was challenging for the lead.
Inky getting a move on now from the outside.
Oh, he's got heavy.
But he's off. He's off the track on the grass. And he's down to P5 now.
He was worried about running into the back of Fast Turbo in front of him, so he's had to pull off onto the grass.
Well, Inky pacey from the start, but making mistakes sadly, and he's now down to P5, gonna make up that places if he's still wanna win the championship.
Yeah, he's given himself a lot of hard work to do here. I guess he had to kind of try and push for it. It's only a 20-minute race, so got to try and take as much as he can as quickly as possible, but that's going to make it a lot more difficult for him coming from 5th instead of 2nd.
We see Cameron pretty close as well here.
Turbo up ahead, looking as if he's going for a move up the inside. In fact, it was Jack Game, so Jack Game managed to get ahead of him in the P3. Turbo just steals that one back, thank you very much. And Yogurt's looking down the outside of this little kink here, challenging into turn 1. He's got the inside line, that should hopefully be move done. It has indeed. He kind of just squeezes Tony to the wide line, but he's managed to hold the speed through that corner and regain P1 really.
Well, Tony Clifton defending pretty well here, blocking all the opportunities so far. Now getting down the inside, but he lets Yogurt take the inside after all, and he locks up here, and Yogurt takes that opportunity, and he's wheel to wheel now with Tony Clifton, but he's gonna go through with that better exit, and it's not the time to be in front now. But
it's a bit of a single line through this one there. You don't want to be going too wide through there, so he's did the better thing by just lifting off a little bit and just slotting in behind Tony so he can take the better line stay a bit closer to them rather than compromising the speed and kind of getting a worse exit and then losing the position that way. So Tony's still going defensive. He does only need 20 points, well 18 technically, points from tonight. See the wheels almost touching there as Yogurt's kind of having a look around the outside. There's another set of wheels on the right hand side there and the inside of Yogurt. So that looks as if it's a bit of a battle going on there. It's As Turbo that's showing his nose and taking a better line and a good exit. Just missed a shift there. It's redlining it there. Somebody's in the pits there.
Well, the fight's not helping that the guys behind are gonna catch the front runners up if they're gonna keep fighting. But now Tony Clifton defending like a wall. He won't let Yogurt through easily. He's not the one to do it. But Asturbo is pretty close behind him now, along with Inky, Chris, Jackgame, and Cameron is right behind that pack. So that's certainly gonna be an interesting beginning.
It looked as if Asturbo had to let off the brakes there because he was worried about going into the back of Tony there. So he had to go out wide, lift off the brakes, which allowed Inky to get back through again. So he has gained back up into P3 behind his teammate there. So he's hoping that perhaps Yogurt can get past Tony Clifton and then perhaps hold him up a bit so that Inky can get past them both and run off to the win. But 18 points is all that Tony needs, which is effectively 7th or better. If he picks up his 7th position in this race, that is championship decided, and he will walk away with the win. But he's not one to just play conservative at this stage. He could play safe and just let these guys go. In fact, this train of 6 people would net him the championship if he just sits behind all of these guys just in this little pack. But he's not here just to kind of bumble around. He's here to win, and that is what he has been doing, and it is what he is currently doing at this stage in the race so far. Just now, 13 minutes to go.
Well, like you said, so far what we see... Oh, there's contact between them. But as you said, like, so far it's just Tony Clifton train of 6 cars. But now contact and Yogurt is in front now, going around the outside. He can take the opportunity. But Tony Clifton holds it well through the inside line. He's not letting it through easily.
He managed to gain the position after that little bit of contact on the previous corner there, but they are deciding to go too wide this time, which might not work out so well.
Yogurt is off the track. He went. He got
collected by everybody slowing down.
Inky got collected. He's now down to P5, and Jackgame also was a victim of this crash. They are now both behind Cameron.
Inky is in trouble. I think he must have suspension damage or something. And that is Yogurt.
And that's the race over for Yogurt. Massive damage.
Formula rookie. He's only half a Formula rookie.
Well, it's end of the race for the both guys.
Wrecked.
Well, team championship fight over.
I would say so. They are pretty much done and dusted.
Another hit into the wall.
There'll be some heavy mechanical damage. You can see him crabbing there, holding right hand steering and still kind of turning left. So just trying to keep out of the everyone else's way, but it's very difficult when your car's not going where you're wanting it to go and telling it what to do. Inky's just up ahead of Yogurt there just now, but
well, now we see a little fight between TPW, Jackgame, and Rob for 4th place. Rob advancing into 4th and Cameron into 3rd after all that carnage. We're gonna see who's gonna come on top of the 4th position. Also, 2 better cars behind there, Big Cliff and Too Fast For You also joining the fight. I think it's also JJ pretty close behind them. But Rob holds it well so far at the 4th place.
Yeah, that was a pretty major accident there. All kind of stems from Yogurt going too wide into that tight right-hander before the kind of very tight left-hander. The previous lap, he'd actually just decided to sit behind Tony and the safer run through and play safe and get through the corner better.
Oh, Rob now
But
going
on
wide on the
that occasion, he
grass.
didn't. He went too wide and paid
And
the
Jagame's
price.
taking the opportunity now. Into the last corner, Rob going wide, and Jagame will now cross and go into P4, capitalizing on that mistake. I think also Ticklish Pickle could just behind him, and he could take that opportunity as well. Both of the Badger cars behind there as well. Pretty close to all that fight going on.
Indeed. Several positions gifted to the guys in the sort of mid pack there by the alien team, essentially being taken out. I don't know what happened to Yogurt, to be fair, because it looks as if he managed to rejoin, and I think that was a bit of confusion as he rejoined, but I don't think that's where he got hit. I think he actually lost it later on, but I don't know if there was contact later on with somebody further up the hill.
Well, a quick question from the chat. Angel9 fan asking, is this the, where new people start or where do new people go? No, it's the interim league in the meantime when we are planning season 16. So if you want to join, you will just have to do an evaluation race. They will be all flagged and posted in the forum when the season is gonna be announced. So no, you can participate in that if you want, but it's not mandatory.
You just see Jack Game just gaining up to P3 there, and
Oh, and now
third place
Rob down
podium position.
into, I think, no, he's still fourth, but as...
Oh, a bit wide there, and he's
Oh,
made contact
and
with the car
Jagame is
behind him,
out,
just
he's
making,
into the wall.
clipping his back end, and he's gone from a solid P3 position there with what seemed to be a decent car under his wheels there, has now just gone into the wall, and I think that is race over.
Well, last race is not going too well. The last race in Sugo was a technical issue. Now he's into the wall and out of the race. He now is retired, so not good few last races for him. But we still have a fight going now on for P3 as Rob and Ticklish catched up to third, and Rob is now in front of Cameron. We still see Too Fast For You and JJ right behind them. So big train of cars and a fight going on there essentially for P3.
Indeed. We'll maybe try and come back to your question there, just cover it in a bit more detail there, but just whilst the action's kind of going on here on trackside, we'll do our best to cover as much of that as we can. We can actually see Rob, who's currently in P3, does have a time penalty against his name there just now. He is 11 seconds off the lead, so it's still Tony Clifton and Ass Turbo that are neck and neck, essentially. But Rob has picked up P3 just now, only about half a second gap and to Cameron behind him there just now. So that penalty could very well drop him back down the order there. There's only just over 7 minutes to go, and a minute and a half lap time, so we're probably looking at about another 3-4 laps or so.
Like you said, only 7 minutes to go, and Asturbo and Tony Clifton are still pretty close. Only 6 tenths now between them. It's still a pretty close fight for P1, even if 2 of the contenders are out. We'll see what will happen, but Tony Clifton still doesn't let anyone go through his defense.
No, exactly, and this is actually probably enough to put Ass Turbo into P2 in the championship. He will have jumped over Inky Chris there. It was a 37-point gap, and at the moment he is on point to score 44 points in this race with a P2 if he finishes where he is currently. I don't know if we can find Inky Chris and what position he is in there, but
Ink is down to P16, while Yogurt I think is out.
Which is only good for 5 points.
Well, I cannot see Yogurt. I think he's retired as well. We saw him for over 2 minutes in the pit stop, but now he just let it go and he's out along with Jagim. Oh, and it's a crash! We see Cameron and And not too fast for you. And Big Cliff out as well with him. No, it's not Big Cliff.
Trying to sort themselves out as they got tangled up in each other's wheels there. Ticklish Picklewickle is now inherited third position now.
Oh, that's El Spaniel. So he hit one of the back markers. What an accident! It's certainly gonna land in the stewards panel. That's not very not a very nice sight to see. One of the back markers getting in the way of the cars running in front. Now we see JJ fighting with Ticklish Picklewickle for third. Well, an unexpected turn of things. I said in the qualifying that Ticklish is not gonna have an easy way through for the podium, but now he's back on it. So unexpected turn of events, but he's still got a train of cars behind him.
Too fantastic in qualifying, and just through keeping himself clean and tidy, incident-free, he has put himself into a very strong fourth position there.
If I'm correct, he was P16 in the qualifying, so a great recovery so far.
Exactly, and certainly showing some pace to be able to at least keep up with Ticklish Picklewickle. So if you can keep up, it generally means you're maybe a little bit quicker overall. So looks as if there's a back marker just up ahead. He's getting out the way nicely on the right hand side there, letting these guys through, respecting the blue flags. Nicely done. But Ticklish Picklewickle actually has a time penalty on his name as well. So if we can pull that up and just have a quick wee look there, 1 second penalty there. Rob's got a 3 second penalty. So Ticklish Picklewickle needs to break away from JJ and have a 1 second gap to him to be able to hold on to that final step on the podium.
Well, a 15-second gap between P3 and P1 right now. All this fighting going on certainly helped Tony Clifton and Astrobo escape all that fights going behind, and now JJ is through in front of Ticklish.
Ticklish maybe just a little bit slow coming on the exit of that.
Oh, and it's a crash again.
A bit of a bump from Rob.
Rob into the back of Ticklish Picklewickle, but they are still going on.
Holding positions there. I think it was pretty much front to end, so I don't think it should have caused any mechanical damage to either of the cars there. Ticklish keen to try and get back into a third place there. Now he has got a 1 second penalty, and Rob I think had a 3 second penalty, so he is fairly safe from Rob behind. But we are only 3.5 minutes left of this session there now, so it's only going to be another 2 laps. Maybe 3 depending on when Tony crosses the line. But Ticklish Picklewickle needs to get past JJ and break away by 1 second.
And now he's trying his chance down the inside. And he's gonna take the chance going through. In the last corner, JJ is now down to 4th. Ticklish Picklewickle regaining his 3rd position.
So he's done what he needs to do in terms of the track position, but he needs to gain a bit of a gap there, and he really hopes, I think probably the best hope that he has at this stage with such a short amount of time left is that either JJ makes a mistake or that Rob is pressuring him and causing him to go defensive and lose time.
Rob is now with 5 seconds of a penalty, so they are pretty much both clear of him. But now JJ goes down the around the outside, but goes pretty much wide. And Ticklish is still fighting for that position, having a better exit of that corner.
Goes too wide through this corner. We saw what happened with the guys up front when they went too wide there.
So 2 minutes to go. Asturbo still pretty close to Tony Clifton, only 1/10 now, and he's going down the inside.
He was quite late in.
Oh, but Tony blocking him. Drunk cameraman. But Asturbo's still right behind.
Be ahead on the final lap, on the final corner, so he might be just biding his time, just sizing up Tony to see where he might be able to make a move. There's over 1.5 minutes left, so they will get this lap and one more.
Well, Tony, as I said earlier, Hamilton of this league, but we hope he won't do an Albon on Asturbo. Because all that blocking going on could not end well, so we hope that the fight will go on clear. But now Asturbo right on the back and going around the outside now.
And JJ's dropped down to 5th there now behind Rob, so it's all still very close. He is still within a second of Ticklish Pickle, which is where he needs to be to steal that
We see
P3
another
on time
retirement.
penalty. He's got a good exit through this corner here. He's been strong here in the previous 2 laps there. Looks like he's kind of speculatively making a move, but I think he's just going to sit there.
That was kind of 3 wide here. JJ going on the grass from the lack of space on the track. And now we see a little train again forming up of 3 cars. The fighting is pretty now over now, but they are still pretty close. But Ticklish will gonna hold to that position probably on the track, but the penalty is not helping him
Very
because
close right now.
JJ is just behind him, and he's gonna go in that gap and retake that 3rd position.
It is very close to that 1 second penalty. I don't know if Ticklish has picked up any more penalties, but assuming it's still just that 1 second, Rob's increased to 5, which is earlier on.
Well, he's now still in the 1 second gap, so
Yeah.
he has to pretty much get a best lap of his race on that last lap. If he's
Not a
still
very
gonna
good
go,
exit there from Ticklish
and will.
Pickle coming through the final corner there. And
Rob just behind him.
is looking as if he might have a look up the outside going into turn 1, which will probably compromise their lines, which should allow JJ to kind of get a good line through here. And maybe catch back up again, which he has done. That is definitely within 1 second window there. So this will be the final lap. We've seen JJ being strong here on the last couple of races in the corners.
Asturbo still just behind Tony Clifton.
Tony. Concentrating on getting a good exit there, which he did there. Looks like it's a good line through. We'll follow this one to the end there because there's a good chance that Asturbo was pretty quick through here this section, last lap.
Well, if he wanna win, that dive bomb in the last corner is probably his last chance. But he's now further away than he was in the last lap, so I don't think he's gonna take the chance now. And yes, he's keeping up behind on Clifton. Tony looking up a bit and getting a better exit.
He's got to decide which way to go.
And that's gonna be a photo finish. No, that's not. And Tony Clifton takes the flag.
Win, becomes the season champion with an extra 50 points onto his tally, and once again another win.
Well, great fight here.
Very solid 2nd place there. Ticklish Pickle looks like he's going to come across the line in 3rd, but
he's in that gap. He is in that gap. I think he's gonna take that P3. No, JJ is in front. JJ takes the last spot on the podium. Ticklish drops down to P4, and Too Fast for it and 5th.
PBL, yeah.
Too Fast for is 5th after Rob takes that 5 second penalty. Big Cliff just behind him, and Cameron crosses the line to be 8th. Paul P9 and Mukat rounds up the top 10. Our favorite pad underdog, but he drops 2 positions after penalties. Duff, Cyrus and Atomic get in front of him, so he drops down to P12. E13 will be twisted because Inky is very much behind him. Lap down, he's already crossed the line. Same for El Spaniel Kiss. And Mr. Ferret last in P17 after we saw 3 retirements.
Yeah, indeed.
So that's pretty much the order roundup.
To 14th at the end there, by the looks of things there. So a bit of a recovery there, but pretty much a disastrous race.
Not what he wanted to finish.
Signs of being right up at the front end there.
Not what he would want, obviously.
Indeed. So Tony Clifton is indeed your Formula Rookie Champion for this season. He picks up that title pretty comfortably so far. At least 1 more race still to run. So fantastic season for you, sir.
Well, something going on with the flags. Tony Clifton classified as a Polish driver here. I think that's not entirely correct. But pretty much fine with all the other drivers. Maybe some nationality change going on. Well, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Muke had
it
9
happened quite a
seconds
lot.
of a penalty, dropping him 2 positions down. I don't know where he picked that penalties, because when I last checked, it was 3, if I'm correct. Well,
Yeah, maybe just pushing a little bit hard in the last couple of laps.
well, didn't have such an effect as Rob's penalty, dropping him down to P6, whereas he was P4 or P5, but the fight was pretty close. So that's your
Indeed.
race 1 results. We're going soon into race 2. 40 minutes with reversed grid now. Reverse top 16. Excuse me.
Yeah. So Inky's actually going to be at the front end of that, so he's going to be in P3 on the grid for race 2. So he's going to be seeing if he can try and regain second in the championship to overtake As Turbo back again. So we will see how that pans out. Again, he's probably going to need a very good result from this second race, and hope that As Turbo does not score quite so many points. Can't really work out exactly the points difference at this stage here just now, but yeah, he's in a pretty much prime position to do so. Not quite pole position for race 2, but he's only got a couple of guys ahead of him, so we know he's got a strong pace. So I suspect he will get through into the lead and probably start pulling a gap, whilst it takes a while for these other guys, such as Tony, to work their way back through the pack from the middle of the pack.
Well, on the backstage, we could say in the paddock, we've got Jack Game back in the lobby after this horrible race 1 accident. Hopefully, he recovers well. He's gonna start
Indeed.
last, if I'm correct, after leaving and retiring. So, pretty much the common position for recoveries. Right next to Tony, if I'm correct. Tony finishing
Um,
first.
no, Tony will
So,
be first, so he'll have been 16th. If there's still a 20 driver,
well, we
yeah,
had
there's 20,
17
20 drivers still.
drivers. So, yeah, he's gonna
So I
be
suspect
P16.
Yogurt and Jack will be at the very back of the grid there. I
Yep.
think pretty much everybody else finished.
Well,
Got to
Inky
the
got
end
the
at
best
least.
position out of those 4 to start. P14, as
Indeed.
you said. P14, P3. He finished P13. But it's gonna be P3 now, since we have a reverse grid. So, who's gonna be starting first? I already missed who finished P16. Let me check really fast.
But it just
We're,
goes to
we're gonna
show that
have
it's worth staying in
we're gonna
because
have El Spano on pole position, if I'm
on
correct.
pole. Okay.
No, that's gonna be Kiss. El Spano starting second, Inky Chris starting third.
Okay. So yeah, giving himself a decent opportunity there just by staying in and keeping going, when it could have probably been quite easy just to park up and call that race over. Um, he kept going, gained several positions, finished 13th, 14th, which is another 7 or 8 points, which could very much be the difference if he gets a strong result in this race against As Turbo. We do expect to see probably at least Tony and As Turbo getting through the pack, but just depends how long it takes them to get through that. If Inky can get through early on and take the lead and keep his earlier pace up and break a bit of a gap to the rest of the guys behind him, whilst they're trying to work their way through the pack, get a bit of a head start, and see if he can convert that into a win. Um, yeah, that's exactly what he needs to do. See how long it takes Tony, As Turbo, the rest of the guys to work their way back through the pack. And for Yogurt and JJ, it's an even stronger ask for them to come right from the back of the grid. So they're going to have a bit of an exciting, hectic race 2. But we saw where JJ started in race 1 from qualifying. I think, as I said, was certainly well outside the top 10. And he was challenging for, well, he was on the P3 before he managed to get a little bit too acquainted with the wall on the outside in the final corner. An unfortunate incident there. I think that was with the back marker. So hopefully he can do another one of those recovery drives, but without the wreck part. Didn't quite catch who got the fastest lap on that race there as well, but Tony did get an extra point as well for pole position.
I'm pretty sure it was Tony. If
I
not,
would
then
think it'd be at least Tony or Asturbo.
Oh, Asturbo had a 31.2, while Tony's fastest lap was 31.5. I don't think anyone did a faster one. Yes, that is the fastest lap of the race. Asturbo is the fastest one. Tony Clifton was second in that.
Chris, then that's another point. Well, that's another
contest.
2 points. I guess Inky Chris has to pick up from race 2 to get back into second place in the championship. He'll be keen to convert that advantage starting position.
Well, we had 19 people watching us at the most today. Everyone who's watching and who still didn't visit apexonlineracing.com for all the leagues that you want in sim racing. Here, Project CARS Formula Rookie. That's the last round, so you cannot join, but look out for the GT3 league next season.
Yeah, indeed. Going back to that earlier question there, so it's not so much a beginners league, but our main event in Project CARS within the Apex Online Racing community is the focus is on the GT3 league. It's kind of what we're known for. Officially supported by SMS for that league. So that's our main league as such, and that will tend to be 10 weeks, plus a couple of kind of evaluation races prior to the season starting. But in between each season, we tend to run a smaller, quicker league, a 6-8 race league. All cars of this sort of nature tend to be a bit slower cars. Gives people a chance to kind of jump in, join in, and see what they feel of online league racing. See if they like it, and see if they want to then progress on to the GT3s. But it's not compulsory in any way. You don't have to have taken part in any of these sort of interim leagues to allow you to qualify for the GT3 league. So if you are interested in this type of racing, then as Dominooo said, get yourself onto the Apex Online Racing community page on the forums. I think I expect the sort of sign-ups or the information about season 16 for the GT3 league will probably be getting posted out relatively soon. It tends to follow these interim leagues fairly closely within a couple of weeks. It gives you time to do some time trials and pick a car, form up a team, get a teammate, and then join in for the season.
Well, as Andrex said, and now we are starting the formation lap. 5 minutes now to form this all up. First lap gonna be the formation lap.
There as everybody just moves out to the side there.
Yes.
Just to allow space for people to come through and get through to the front. To
we see our pole sitter already going on. Yes.
Kiss just making his way forward. We'll probably get to the end of sector 1 or so and sit there, wait for everyone else to form up. So El Spano comes into P2.
And Inky should follow him as well now into P3. Indeed.
So he will probably be one odds-on favourite for this race, I suspect. Twisted coming through there into P4. Looks like Mewcat making his way through the grid there.
Oh, Mewcat is starting so far after those penalties. He was P12, so I forgot really we've got those people starting from the back because you wouldn't expect him finishing not so far away, but starting so high in the reverse grid. Now Atomic falling into 6th and Duff Cyrus into 7th.
Yep.
Paul 8th and Cameron 9th. And P10 will be starting too fast for you, I'm pretty sure. Or no, Pickliff, the same livery. My mistake. Next is Rob.
Coming through.
And now it's too fast for you. Then we've got Ticklish Pickwickle. P4, if I'm correct after all. Yes, P4,
From the previous
P3.
race, yeah.
P3 was JJ. Next we've got Asturbo
Turbo,
and Tony Clifton.
race winner and championship winner.
Yes.
Tony Clifton.
Then we got Mr. Ferret. Not Phoenix. Phoenix going slowly, but I think someone's
Yogurt,
gonna... No,
or
Phoenix still going on.
And then Yogurt.
Yogurt and Jack Game rounds up the grid.
So they'll be running through this formation lap there, pretty much single file up until the kind of end of sector 2, and then they will be forming up to go 2 wide, just reduce the pace down a little bit and get them all bunched up. But the tyre temps will be dropping and the tyre pressures will be dropping and the brake temperatures will all be dropping from being sat static on the grid. So they need to try and work some temperatures back into those. So the first couple of laps can be rather slippery as you see them just forming themselves up. I think that's just before sector 3 there, just on the exit of the kind of second hairpin as such.
We see people pretty much sliding all the race, even if internationally, since those cars are pretty much very slidey. But yeah, cold tires could make it not controllable. And now we are forming up in double file, no, still in single file.
Single file for the time being.
Yes,
They'll get round this next corner, I think.
Single file, double file.
And then they'll form up 2 by 2.
Double file in the end of sector 2, pretty much beginning of sector 3. We see our Pulsitor Kiss finishing P16 in the last race, meaning P1 in the second one. Right behind him, El Spaniel, they are starting to form up in double file. I think he's going, no, he's going 80, so everything is as it should be, but everyone pretty much not catching up too fast. We still see some guys behind here. A little gap forming up. You can see it on the map.
Indeed. They're bunching up a bit better now. They're holding their lines left and right there, getting their adrenaline pumping there. Kiss comes up to the line. It'll be pretty much any point from here on that Kiss can drop the hammer and start the race. It is up to him as to when to go. El Spano is kind of jumping the start there and pays the penalty for it, because now Kiss goes, and that is Inky Chris straight into P2. Let's see if everyone else seems to get through cleanly. It looks pretty good so far there. Inky will be certainly very keen to try and take that.
And Bickley going on the grass.
Away.
But he's rejoined pretty safely. No, he's still there and he's still on the grass. And someone is on the grass as well. One of the red cars. I think that's Mr. Ferret.
Ferret.
But except for that, we had a pretty clean start out there. Oh!
And Inky is in the lead already.
And fighting already. And Kiss is on the grass. He's dropping now to P4 after starting on pole. With that little fight going on with El Spaniel. And Ticklish Pickwickle also overtakes him.
Indeed.
So already
P4 there.
Already a strong start from Inky, up by 2 positions. And now he's got already a 2-second gap
already. Yep. So it's gone absolutely perfect for him. Only half a lap through, and he is already in the lead and breaking away from the pack there. Just needs to put in his good lap times. He's under no pressure from anyone else there. You can just throw in these lap times, try and break that gap, increase it as large as possible before everyone else starts to kind of filter their way through from the back. Looks like Yogurt is up into P5.
Oh, and
which
Tony
is
Clifton into
quite
P6 as
amazing
well.
considering he started pretty much dead last.
Well, both of those step Russian guys racing down into P19 and P20, something must have happened. They're both at the back of the
Making a move
grid.
up the inside.
Oh, and Yogurt is
I
a
think
bit
he's managed
slidey
to
through there.
get a hold of P4.
And Tony Clifton just behind those two catching up to the fight. Now they are P5 and P4 just catching up to Pico in third. And
Now gets to
Inky
the
is now
point
3
where the
seconds in the
faster
lead.
people that you'd expect to make their way through the pack are
Robert
coming up
already in pit
against
lane.
faster people, so it's harder for them to get these moves done and get through. So Yogurt takes out a couple of cones there.
Astro is still in P13, pretty much down by 12 seconds, so he's pretty far. Well,
Not gained as much as everyone
not
else.
sure what happened to
Certainly.
him.
The Cliffs picks up a time penalty there in P8 at the moment there just now. Just a 1 second penalty.
Yep. And fighting along with
is
Phoenix.
increasing his lead. He's got a just over 4.5 second lead over. I think it was Twisted. P2 there, but Yogurt's already up into P3 now. He is flying through at the moment.
Already overtaking back
fact,
Marcus.
He
Well,
is in P2,
not a good sight.
So 2 laps down, and Yogurt has gone from the back of the grid into P2 with his teammate up ahead in P1. He will be keen to see if he can chase him down and steal a win. I don't know if there'll be any team orders going on there.
On the grass.
A little bit of contact there, a little bit of bumping.
That's Twisted on the grass,
survived.
but he still survived. He's in P5 now, down behind pretty much all of those front runners. If we count Pikolka as well, a bit slower than those guys in front of him, but he still can hold up to those top 5 positions if he's gonna capitalize on those guys fighting. But it's gonna be hard to catch Inky Chris now 6 seconds into the lead. But we'll see what will happen. We've got a pretty long race in front of us.
In terms of
someone's on the grass.
His teammate essentially being in front of Tony Clifton right now. Obviously the championship's done, but he needs as many points and as many cars between Inky Chris and Ass Turbo as he possibly can. Ass Turbo's currently sitting in 12th at the moment, so at the moment it looks like Inky Chris is maybe kind of making this recovery evening come true to form.
Little fight going on there.
Turbo can improve a lot.
I'm not sure who that was. That's Tony Clifton catching up to Yogurt right behind him. And that's a back marker already given out those positions. I think that was Rob. Yeah, that's Rob respecting the blue flag. And Tony's still right behind Yogurt, a little bit faster than he is. Hopefully no crashes for the front runners this race.
Ticklish Pickle Wickle right in behind them there as Tony goes wide.
And Tony spins
there,
out!
And Ticklish Pickle Wickle kind of has a look up the inside, which he was perfectly entitled to do. So I think Tony just caught the slide and it managed to pull in. And it looks as if Ticklish Pickle Wickle is static on the inside there.
Still on the grass.
Get going again.
And he rejoins in P11.
For those two there just now. Tony has managed to get going again. He has dropped down to 6th position there.
Well, Ticklish will go down into P13, so massive loss of positions for him. Right behind El Spaniel now. I think he's gonna overtake him, start doing the recovery run. Not so much positions lost as Tony Clifton, who's dropped into those middle pack races. He's pretty much gonna recover pretty quickly with his pace, doing 1 or 2 seconds depending faster laps than most of the grid. So he can pretty much still recover into that first place, 13 seconds down on Inky Chris. Yogurt is gonna definitely capitalize on that.
13 seconds on top of both Inky Chris and Yogurt there. Yogurt holding about a 6 second gap at the moment. We'll just try to see how that progresses throughout the next several laps, see if he is quicker or catching. The lap time's looking very close there, pretty much 32s, pretty much matching each other there. So We'll see if Clifton's just made a position back up into P5 there now. It was a 1 minute 40, so yeah, he lost 8 seconds from that incident with Ticklish Pickle on that previous lap there. So he's
Well,
got a lot of work to do. At the moment, he could be on for his worst result. I suspect he's got the pace at least to get up into the 3rd position, but yeah, it's probably not far away from a 6-second gap to Yogurt.
well, Tony's safe
So,
now, so he isn't really bothering himself about being out for the last race, as he already has the championship sealed. But we, for example, see Twisted in P3 now. He started P4, a pretty strong run so far after not so good first race. We see Rob just behind him, a lapped car, so not actually a rare sight to be seen in those cars. And Duff Cyrus right behind them, still pretty close. But Inky still with a 5-second lead over Yogurt.
check the lap
Doing
times
pretty
as they
much
come
similar
across
lap
here.
times to
There's
him.
a 32.2 for Inky Chris there. So you can jump back to Yogurt, see what he pulls in this time.
We have Astrobo up to
32.3,
P8.
so pretty much matching each other. Both in clear air, so not gaining from any kind of drafting, but not losing out from any dirty air going through the corners.
Well, Tony
So,
Clifton now with the fastest lap, 1 second faster than Inky Chris. That's 131.251. It's 1 second and 100 of a second faster than the current leader. So he's
indeed,
already
at
doing the
pace,
recovery.
he should be able to kind of gain back up into the lead in theory.
He's fighting now with
There's,
Twisted.
about half an hour left to go, and if we're looking at a minute and a half lap times, essentially going to be the equivalent of about 20 laps. So if he can gain a second a lap, as he's making another move there, and already recovered into P3 with a good solid move up the inside there. I don't think Twisted was really going to make that too difficult for him and fight and contest it too much. So lets him through and just follows him for the rest of this lap. And it looks as if he is already up on his best lap time again on this lap as well. So he is on a charge. He has got his mission programmed in.
Well, gonna be surprising if he goes into the 30s. I think we didn't have a lap like this in the last race. Would be surprising to see this in this one, but Tony Clifton in the charge mode can do pretty much anything so far. Fastest lap already after 10 minutes of running. Yogurt now into the 31s as well, and that was
Indeed.
a 31.4 from Tony Clifton, so not the fastest lap of his, but still a very quick one, still quicker than Inky Chris. Asturbo
so
now into
Yogurt's
P7.
Gained half a second on that lap over his teammate there, so we'll see if he is going to continue that slightly quicker pace there.
Asturbo now into P7, fighting with JJ. Pretty much recovered a little bit, not the whole grid after starting at the back. In the first few laps, still he was P13. Now he's P7, so still a few positions to go. A little fight going on in the front. That's Bickley fighting with Twisted and Darth Cyrus. They're fighting for P4. Little train forming up, but now Bickley capitalizes on the better exit than Darth Cyrus had. And he's still not in front, but too wide here going into the next corner. And now he's through.
Indeed.
Oh, but going on the grass, but he's kept it running. But Darth Cyrus right behind him. We'll see how this fight unfolds, but so far Bickley pretty much going faster than both of the guys involved here, except for little mistakes like here. And I think that's also that's Astrobo joining the fight here. Oh, and that was Bickley thrown on the grass with that little fight going on with Cyrus. So we don't want to see any more crashes. Would make it a little bit more interesting, but not a good sight to see. And Astrobo now with a good run right behind those two guys into the chicane. Could take a chance in this fight with Darth Cyrus. And Bicklef goes
Very difficult
wide
to go
along
around
with
the outside,
Twisted.
but it has ended up causing B Cliff to go wide. So
Along
he's
with
gained a
Twisted,
position from
yes.
there up
They
into
both went wide.
P6.
And Darth Cyrus now fights with Twisted, goes around down the inside, and he takes P4 easily after Twisted had a bad run going wide into the chicane, going on the grass. So now Asturbo right behind him as well, but not he can't take the chance yet. A pretty much tight track here in this part. Darth Cyrus going a little bit slidey, but he keeps it going in P4. I think that and Asturbo now goes down the inside. A better run out of this corner. Asturbo pretty much one of the most constant runners here. A great pace and consistency causing him now into P5, getting a good run again on Darth Cyrus. And Bicklef goes on the grass again.
A quick look at the lap times there. A 32.5 for Inky Chris there, so he is dropping lap times. There's a 36.4 for Yogurt. Now, I think that's because he's picked up a time penalty. So he is just under 7 seconds behind Inky, so he has lost time. He's obviously gone off somewhere, picked up a track penalty warning. We'll see if we can find out what sort of penalty limit that is. But Asturbo just trying to follow these guys there and gain
Cyrus
as much as he
defending from Bicklef. Bicklef dropped down to 6 again. Asturbo taking the chance again, going down the inside into the chicane. We'll see how will that unfold.
Too wide into here,
And Asturbo takes the chance, he's through. A 5-car train here going on. Interesting fights, positions changing all the time. While Inky Chris got a 7-second lead after Yogurt took his penalty slowdown. Tony Clifton 4 seconds behind Yogurt, 11 seconds behind Inky Chris. 26 minutes to go, so Tony Clifton still can recover for that win.
I think this is going to be very close between Inky Chris and Asturbo if the positions stay as they are at this stage in terms of final positions in the championship standings. Inky improved a little bit this time around again, back into the low 31s. A 32.9 for Yogurt, so he has dropped off a little bit there. That previous 6-second gap has increased up to 7 seconds. Clifton's also in the low 32, almost a 32 flat there. Still the fastest car on track at this point, but he's going to need to be gaining a bit quicker than that if he wants to take the fight back up to the front guys.
Well, a very similar lap to Inky.
Just under 3.5 second gap to Yogurt ahead of them now. So the time is coming down very slowly, just under 10.5 seconds gap to the leader.
He sees Yogurt in his side. Inky Chris pretty much going up the same pace as Tony Clifton does now, only 1/10 slower, 32.1. Still keeping up that lead pretty comfortably, despite all the faster guys behind him. Good sight to see. We saw a great performance from Inky Chris on Sugo, winning just in front of Tony Clifton. Well, we'd love to see that here as well, as Tony Clifton can still pretty much catch up to him.
Another low 32, 32.3 for Inky Chris there. We'll see 32.5 for Yogurt, and a 31.7 for Clifton. So Clifton's still got the hammer down. He is still the fastest man on track. Still over 10.5 second gap to Inky. It looks as if there is a strong chance for him catching Yogurt up ahead, pretty much just under a second quicker in that last lap. So 24 minutes to go, probably looking at around about 16, maybe 17 laps left to go in this race, so still plenty of time. If he's just a second or so quicker, then he has got a lot of time still to play with to catch all the way up the front. Once he catches Yogurt, catching is one thing, passing is definitely obviously another thing entirely. It can be quite easy to catch somebody if you are quicker, but you have to be fairly significantly quicker, certainly in one specific corner, than somebody else to actually be able to get past. These cars are quite twitchy, so yeah, it's not the easiest cars to be battling in and running side by side with. So he's currently, and again, it is quite phenomenal in that you say that he's in third position, which currently, as it stands, is his worst finishing result, or would be his worst finishing result. And there's contact there. And was that As
Oh,
Turbo?
I
Or
think that is Twisted. No, that I'm not sure who that was.
it wasn't As Turbo, but was it As Turbo's teammate? Who's As Turbo's
I
teammate
think
now?
that was Cameron.
I think you're right. It was
Yeah, that's
Warner's
Asturbo's
car.
either Asturbo's teammate or a very close livery. That's Cameron spinning out. He's now down to 10th. So Ticklish Pickle with a nice recovery so far into the top 10 after dropping P13 pretty much 10 positions down. Now just behind Big Cliff and Twisted. We'll see if he gets a good run. He can overtake one of those guys into the chicane or capitalize on one of them making a mistake, as they both did. And now Big Cliff goes down the inside, makes contact with Twisted. They both make contact with Twisted, and Big Cliff stops here. Something happened. Maybe his engine stalled.
The other chap to go ahead because he
Could
did
be.
make that incident. He was the cause of that one. So
Well, he let them
very
both
sporting.
through, but still stood there for some time. His engine could
Lost
have
more time than
stalled
he really needed to.
if he didn't have auto start on or something. But now he's back on the track. Behind Twisted and Ticklish Pickle Wickle. So Patience paid paid him 2 positions here. And now a 2-second lead in that P7 from Twisted. Well, not a lead, but he's in front of Twisted. We pretty much don't have any fights going on here, but as we saw some trains going on in the first part of the race, as it's 21 minutes to go, pretty much halfway through the race. I think that's Big Cliff picking up a penalty, and Twisted into the pit lane could be for damage.
Tony Clifton was looking as if he's pretty close to the back of Yogurt, and Yogurt actually looks as if he has a 3-second time penalty to his name. So Tony Clifton's definitely within that 3-second window. He's probably within 1 second or a second and a half or so.
Oh, that's a big game changer.
He is essentially net P2 at this stage, so that P3 is looking less likely. So still 8. In fact, he's gained up on Inky as well. Inky pulling in a 32.8 on the previous lap there. This chap in front of Tony really needs to be pulling out of the way.
Oh.
And he kind of slows down to let him through.
And getting close between that back marker.
Tony having to check up and avoid contact there, but manages to get away with it. That could have gone horribly wrong. But he has lost a fair bit of time to Yogurt up ahead from having to navigate his way through that back marker. A 32.7 for Inky Chris on that one, a 32.4 for Yogurt, so there he's gaining a little bit again on his teammate on that previous one. A 33 for Tony Clifton there because of that having to brake for that back marker. So he's surviving that gap a little bit more for another lap or so, as Tony Clifton is still definitely putting in the faster laps of everybody apart from this last one there just now. Plenty of time still to go to gain all that time back again. Perhaps Inky's starting to struggle a little bit with tyres. Lap time slowly dropping a little bit as the race progresses. Coming from what was initially 31s. Oh, Yogurt sliding it around that corner. Very dramatic.
Little drift going on there. Tony Clifton still 3 seconds behind him, so at the moment he could probably get that P2, as it's a little gap between 2.8, 2.9 or 3 seconds, but he's probably gonna catch him up anyway, so doesn't really have to care. at the
He
moment.
could play it safe. He doesn't need to play it safe anymore because he has the championship title now. So at this stage, he's literally got nothing to lose to try and get
Exactly.
another win under his belt. And he's certainly at the moment very odds-on favourite to get at least P2 at this stage, with that 3-second penalty for Yogurt up ahead.
Well, as he
That is
said,
definitely going to hurt him.
a P3 at the moment would be his worst result. So I don't think he wants to get that P3, either P2 or P1.
I suspect he'll certainly want to get P2 on track, as well as having that kind of cushion of Yogurt having the time penalty as well. But he's not showing signs of taking it easy. He is going for it. He's going to do his best, as he always does. And so far, he is definitely the fastest car on track. Again, I think he in the 33s in that last lap. I don't know if he had to navigate some back markers or traffic on that one.
Well, on last lap, Asturbo was the
mid-33.
fastest. He was doing a 32.1, Tony Clifton 32.4, but we don't see signs of Asturbo catching up so far, despite being on paper the fastest car. So
for that previous lap, certainly, yeah, he's putting a good lap on that one. He needs to keep that up to see if he can keep going there. He's 17 seconds behind, so he's 10 seconds behind Tony Clifton at the moment. He's got a bit of a fairly comfortable gap to JJ behind him, who also has a time penalty as well. So he's fairly comfortable in P4 right now. And I think, and I haven't done the maths, but I think that's certainly going to be very close between him and Inky. Inky getting a fairly low scoring race on race 1 there, perhaps picking up 7 or 8 points. Now the gap was initially 37 points. So let's see if we can do some maths. I'll let you carry on and cover the action, and I'll do some adding up.
well, we see Dav Cyrus into the pit lane. Not sure what's the reason, because we didn't see any crash from him or something like that. And Inky Chris now 5.5 seconds in front of Yogurt, so both Yogurt and Tony Clifton catching up to him, and you can't deny that. Asturbo 16 seconds down, so still a long way to go despite a fast pace, a 32.0 at the last lap. So I'm not sure what's the reason, but he's even longer way down now, 18 seconds behind. We see a little fight between Too Fast For You catching up to Mr. Ferret. Except for that, not much fight and action going on the track at the moment. Cyrus out of the pit lane already. And Too Fast For You takes the move round the outside. Mr. Ferret not sent into the shadow reel, but he went wide. I'm not sure what's the reason, but a lot of guys going either wide or locking up in that chicane with so many victims in both of the races. As I said, I'm not sure what's the reason, but it is a point that, as we saw, you have to watch out for. I wouldn't say that's the hardest part of the track to cross, but it caused some issues so far.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad corner to get wrong, so it's kind of fairly easy just to get your braking point wrong, just miss it slightly, and if you lock your wheels up on braking, then it just kind of doesn't slow down, and because it's into a hairpin, the track just disappears off to your right, and you continue going straight with your tyres locked up, and it just doesn't take the corner. You end up in that little escape lane, which is going onto the kind of full circuit, as opposed to the kind of Indy.
Someone taking the bollard behind and spinning out. Not sure who that was, but someone's into the wall. That's not Ticklish Pick Wilco, but I think that his teammate, a similar livery. I'm not sure who that was. As I said, can't really find it.
So from my basic maths, which could very well be wrong, it looks incredibly close between Inky Chris and Asturbo coming into this race. I put it as about 1, potentially 2 points gap in Asturbo's favour. But as it stands now for this race, then Inky is well, he's not really on the cards for a win because Tony Clifton is only 4.5 seconds behind, which definitely jumps him into P2 ahead of Yogurt's 3-second penalty. Pretty much right on track with Yogurt, so that is a battle that's happening on track now. Again, with 31.8 for Tony's last lap, and a 33.3 for Inky Chris there, so there's a massive gain for Tony
Someone's
Clifton.
around again. That's not Mr. Ferret, that's his teammate. That's Twisted.
Yeah.
Spun in the living of that chicane. Another victim.
Indeed. So there we can see Tony chasing down Yogurt ahead. More back markers up ahead. Hopefully they do not get in the way of things. But yes, so that's a 3-second penalty for Yogurt. Definitely puts him behind Tony. But at this pace, Tony is still. Oh, and Yogurt slides it, hangs the back end out around the outside of that double right-hander there. Looks very dramatic and very impressive, but it's not really the fastest way around the track. Losing traction, compromising your exit speed there. Tony is right on the back of him. Definitely suited to these cars here. We know how quick Yogurt is from the GT3 leagues. We know how pretty quick Tony Clifton is indeed. But he is absolutely flying here, and it looks as if he's gone side by side. It's a bit risky to go around the outside there. It's unlikely that you're just going to go around the outside of somebody when they're getting a relatively close, similar lap times one another. You're almost having to kind of wait for a mistake or find out where it is that you are quicker and just try and set the lap up so that you've got your best possible opportunity going into the one corner where you feel that you have a strong advantage over the car ahead. But they are still, despite them battling, or they're not really battling quite so much at this stage there, but they are still gaining time on Inky Chris at front. That gap down to just over or just under 4 seconds.
Well, in the meantime, when they were fighting, Tiggerspeak Wickle went up to 5th. I think someone had a little crash as he was P6, and JJ up to P6, similar to him. So now they are not right behind Asturbo, but right behind Jack Game. Despite being the back marker this race, he's certainly keeping the pace up. 32.8 on his last lap, so keeping up pretty much the pace of the front runners. Something happened, if I'm correct, on the lap 1. Both him and his teammate Mucat down to 2 last places. Well, Jack Game P17, Mucat P15, so they didn't recover pretty well. Not good to see that. Obviously, both pretty fast despite Mucat being on the controller. But Jack Game also a strong contender. Well, we would see him regularly in top 10, if not those unlucky accidents that happened pretty much all 3 last races.
Big slice of curb there for Yogurt there, and Tony Clifton taking a much more conservative line through there. Trying to get a good exit there, which it looks if he did get a decent exit on that one there. I don't know, it's going to be quite close enough to make a challenge into this double right hander there. Yogurt does look as if he's going semi-defensive here, moving back onto the normal racing line there, sliding it again and again, just compromising that exit there. He needs to move over to the right to defend against this slow right hander there. You can see Inky Chris up ahead there. So they're still definitely gaining time on Inky Chris ahead. Well, pretty much similar lap times all around on the previous lap there, keeping the gap fairly static.
Well, 9 minutes to go.
36 for Yogurt, so he's picked up another time penalty because it wasn't a 1 minute 36 lap time that you'd physically put in. In fact, Tony Clifton's got a 34, so I strongly suspect that he's picked up a time penalty as well. I don't know if that has crashed for you, but I have static game.
Well, 9 minutes to go. We will see if Inky Chris can still keep up the first position, and the Yogurt with 7 seconds of a penalty right now.
Indeed,
So
I have been
he would drop.
disconnected. I'll see if I can get back in again.
So he would drop to P3 right now. Asturbo's still a long way behind, so he doesn't really have to bother about that. But Tony Clifton is definitely gonna go in front unless something bad happens to him. Obviously, we don't wish such things. But yet, Yogurt pretty much extending those track limits to the maximum. Even going
And
behind
beyond.
them. And we now seat Phoenix up to P11, but we are probably still gonna watch that fight here. We got 17 cars, another 3 cars out in this race as in the last one. I think we had 19 starters still too. They're still pretty
I think it was a full
close.
20, same as race 1, starting race 2 here. So
I think 1 or 2 guys disappeared, so I could be wrong with that 2 or 3 runners out. And Tony Clifton now is in front of Yogurt, but Yogurt's still pretty close, going around the outside.
Through the outside there.
Tony Clifton not leaving any space at the moment, and now he blocks the outside door, and in the same fashion inside for the next corner. Yogurt has to go around the outside. Tony Clifton sliding a little bit, but he's pretty much through, and he can continue the race on P2 without issues.
7 minutes left.
Yogurt not fighting with him for that position.
You can see Inky Chris up ahead. He's got the target acquired.
Oh, and I think that's Jack Game on the grass. No, it's Mucat on the grass. And one of the cars is out. We have another retirement. Can't really check who that was, but we are down to 16 runners in this race.
So we'll keep an eye on these lap times here as Tony Clifton's done what he needs to do to finally get past Yogurt there. Yogurt's not going to lie down and just not let that one go. He's going to have a go at seeing if he can gain that position back again. Tony having to kind of go defensive because you never know what might happen. It might be that Tony picks up further penalties, so and evens out that disadvantage. So yeah, he has to certainly finish ahead of him at this stage, and hope that Tony picks up some more penalties to even that out. Fairly similar lap times to Inky Chris, so they don't really make too much of a dent on his lead in this lap. But I suspect this is probably going to be one of the first laps that Tony Clifton is not being challenged quite so hard and managing to get his a better lap time out of it. Inky doing what he needs to do. In fact, Yogurt did have a look up the inside there, so that will compromise his lap time a little bit. But yeah, Inky doing what he needs to do. He's not pushing too hard at this stage. There's only 5 minutes left. Can you remind me what the time penalty is that Tony Clifton has at this stage? Sorry.
Well, Tony Clifton
1 second. Okay.
has got a 1 second penalty. So it's putting him up 4.3 seconds behind Inky Chris. At the moment, Yogurt still 7 seconds penalty.
Yeah,
so he didn't exceed the track limits even more, but he can't really cancel all of those penalties. He's pretty much got the highest penalty except for Jack Game, who's got 35 seconds. But I think that's...
Bring back the racing to see if we can... he's still behind them.
Well, okay. I'm not sure what caused that big penalty for Jack Game. I think that could be due to some pit lane entry issues.
Potentially if it was 10 seconds or more. But Clifton with a 31.6 against Inky Chris's 32.2, so he gains about half a second that lap. 4.5 minutes to go, which is probably about 2, maybe 3 laps left of this race. 2.5 second gap. He needs to be gaining at least... Oh, it's a big lock up there from Yogurt there. Managed to not compromising too much there. But Tony needs to be gaining at least a second a lap, in fact more, because he is carrying that 1 second time penalty. against him as well. So he needs to catch Inky, get past Inky, and gap him by 1 second. So with a 1 second, even with half a second to 1 second quicker lap times, it's looking as if Inky is going to manage to hold out on this one. Again, pretty sensible driver there. He knows what he needs to do. He doesn't need to be forcing himself to be putting in and driving at 110%, getting those magical lap times. He just needs to be enough to stay ahead. He'll be able to see that Tony Clifton has that 1 second time penalty, so he has that little bit of kind of cushion to know that even on the last lap, on the last corner, he can afford to even let Tony go through. He's not going to want to do that, but he does have a little bit of a safety net, his advantage there. We'll see if Tony can catch. You can see the target up ahead. He is managing to break a bit of a gap away from Yogurt now. So he'll now be able to get in his slightly better lap times there.
Well,
Again,
the current lap's already
1:31.5
magical
against
for me.
32.2 essentially. Another
But
half a second gap.
2 seconds gap
Long.
now. 3 counting the penalty that Tony Clifton has. So Inky Chris can pretty much hold up to this position he gained at the start of the race. 2.5 minutes remaining, so pretty much 2 laps to go, including this one. We'll see, but it seems like Inky can hold up this lead in counting the penalty that Tony Clifton has. Yogurt would still hold that P3 if it ends up like that. Asturbo 20 seconds behind Inky, meaning 17 behind Yogurt. So 10 counting the penalties, because I don't think that Asturbo has one.
No,
no, Asturbo doesn't have any
but
penalty,
Yogurt's gone
but
up to 8 seconds
Yogurt
now.
picked
Still-
up one more
Still
second.
fairly safe.
Well, still safe.
Let's see what Inky can do on this lap time. It just needs to be in a kind of low 32s again. I think should be safe enough.
Well, Tony
There's a
Clifton
high
doesn't care
32
that
there
he already
and
won.
a high 31 there. So Tony gaining a second. It is more than 1 minute 30 left of the race, so it'll be this lap and one more after that one. So penultimate lap there, 1.5 second gap. Tony currently doing 1 second a lap quicker, so I think he's going to get close by the end of this lap, perhaps.
Well,
and then he has another lap to get past him and gain a 1 second buffer in front of him. But I suspect Inky might now just be able to pull out the stops and push a little bit harder than he has been, perhaps when he's not needed to. No point in risking throwing away a win by a silly mistake here. So he might just be winding himself back up again there, and just as long as I can defend and keep him behind me, that's all he needs to do. In fact, more than he needs to do with that 1 second penalty. So,
well, Tony doesn't care. He already won the championship. He still wants to get the most he can of his car and his abilities. And as we see, those aren't low in the Formula Rookie car. He's now 6 tenths behind Inky Chris, right up on his rear bumper. And now they cross the line for the last lap of this interim Formula Rookie series. Tony Clifton right behind Inky Chris. He has the 1 second penalty that is backing him up, but if he is gonna manage another one of those magical laps, then he's gonna win that race as well, and complete a run of I think that's 7 victories and 1 second place, so absolutely
2
dominant.
second places. He's second
2 second places
on the last race last week, and then the second race
Oh.
on the first week as well.
Alright.
Somebody's taking the cones for a ride around the lap round it again.
Well, that was a back marker, probably do that on purpose.
But yeah, we're on the final lap there, just coming through into the heavy braking zone. The right-hander coming into the fairly sharp left-hander as well. Tony just gaining and gaining and gaining pretty much every braking zone and every corner, just seeming to be able to hold out a little bit more speed than Inky up ahead. But Inky, with no penalties against his name, is looking as if he should be able to hold on here. I think Tony's maybe going to have a little look to
Oh,
try and get them
right
on
behind
track.
him right now. A
But at
better run
this
to that
stage,
corner, I
I think
think, and
Inky
he's
will
gonna challenge
defend.
him.
He doesn't. Well, he tries to squeeze him a little bit there, but he's fine with letting Tony go through.
And he goes down the
Because he
inside.
just needs to be close enough. He just needs to be within a second. Which he
No,
is, so
that's not gonna be a
Tony will
second.
win on track, but instantly drop down into second, and Inky claims another win. This is number 3 for the season. Yogurt not too far behind in a P3, but his time penalty will drop him a little bit further back, but he is safe on the podium. As Turbo rounds the final corner there, up the hill there, little wiggle, as he is probably very happy with the P4 after a bit of a shaky start to the race.
Well, Ticklish Pickle Wickle recovers to P5. Great recovery from dropping down to P13.
Yeah.
And JJ crosses the line, fighting pretty much for half of the race with Ticklish. He crosses 6th. Bigcliff still didn't complete the race, but he's gonna cross the line on P7.
Indeed. Looks like the teammates are finishing the race off in 7th and 8th on this time around.
Well, that's Bigcliff through the finishing line. Too Fast For You rounds the final corner now.
Too Fast For You comes up the final little hill and over the grid.
Oh, and that's a photo finish with Mr. Ferret. We got that, not the full finish here, but that was a photo finish behind them. But Mr. Ferret with 2 seconds, so it didn't affect the standings. And Paul rounds up the top 10. We got Phoenix 11th, Robob 12th, Twisted P13, Jack Game is 14th, Mucat 15th, Atomic 16th, and Cyrus and Kiss are the last ones classified. They are both retired, but they got classified. So that's the last race of our little interim league in those Formula Rookie cars. Absolutely dominant for Tony Clifton.
Absolutely. Takes the championship this season there. No worse than a second place. You got 3 second places, and the rest were all wins. So a fantastic season from him, almost flawless essentially. Pretty much exactly as you said, they're dominating this season there. Inky Chris, I think, has done enough to hold on to the second place in the championship there ahead of Turbo, picking up another win in this second race here tonight. I'm going to pop down, see if any of the drivers would like to jump up for an interview. We'll see if we can maybe just try and grab a couple of guys just to see if they can get an overview of what their season has been like, see if they've really enjoyed it or not. But yes, I will see if anybody would like to come up for us.
Well, we've got Inky Chris ready for interview. So Andrek's gone somewhere. He's gonna be back in a second, I believe, but we'll have Inky first for interview. Oh, fantastic 2 races, except for those crashes, I must say. Probably the most interesting ones, in my opinion. Well, not trying to insult those Suga ones. But we've got 3 guys ready for interview now. So you're gonna have some time listening to those interviews as well. I hope you won't go yet. We will have pretty much all season rounded up by those guys that we'll interview in a second.
Okay, we do have a few people in the ready to interview channel. We have got Ticklish Pickle Wickle there, Atomic, Inky Chris, and Rob currently there. Let's see if anyone else wants to join us as well. But I think we'll probably start with the race winner for second race, which is Inky Chris. Inky Chris, hello. Second race went a lot better than the first one.
Yeah, it helps starting at the front, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? a bit of an advantage.
Silver lining for Abysmal.
Chasing you down pretty hard there towards the end. He got you on track, but obviously, I guess that was a case of you not fighting it because he knew you had that 1 second penalty.
Yeah,
But
well, I was pushing just as hard as in the first race. I had a lot more pace in the first race, obviously, until I didn't. But then, yeah, I don't know. In this race, I was just maybe it's the lack of pace cars. It's always a lot easier to go faster when you've got a bit more pressure closer behind, I think.
yeah, indeed.
Yeah, I guess technically I just drove exactly the right speed. So,
well, just enough, perfectly enough. Indeed. Can you talk us through what happened in the first race there? Obviously, we saw, I think it was Yogurt and Tony going side by side into the kind of chicane area, and then we kind of saw Yogurt going straight on and having to rejoin, but we didn't really see what happened after that.
I'm still not actually 100% sure what happened, but I think I just got rear-ended, basically.
I think it was a case of people were checking up and the guys behind maybe weren't aware and ran over the back again.
So I think it was, I think Jack Gaming messaged me after that, so it sounds like it might have been involving him. I think he basically got alongside on my left, which is just, if you've just come out of an Apex, is not somewhere you expect to have a car.
Not really, no.
So I was moving over because I think it's probably Asturbo on my right was also moving over in order to take the right-hander. And then suddenly I'm sideways and I've got like 100% damage on my left. And
it looked pretty wrecked.
And I was like, I kind of started going a little bit and I was like, well, maybe it's drivable. And I was like, it's not drivable. It's definitely not drivable. So me and Yogurt just cruised around at like 30 miles an hour.
It was pretty much almost formation grass driving, one either side of the track.
I just
made your way back to the pits. But you did stay in there. You did go into the pits and you did get repaired, and then you managed to fight your way back up. I think you came back out on 16th, but you did manage to get yourself back up into 13th, which did give you a pretty decent starting position.
I stopped and I saw the repair time and I thought, well, you may as well let it finish and see where I end up. And yeah, I was like, oh, well, I keep going, then I'll start at the front next race. And I did, so pretty much.
Indeed.
That was pretty good. It was an interesting start of the first race because I think P2 was quite a way in front of P1 when the race started.
When they crossed the line, I think Kiss was maybe a little bit slow off the line, and then you managed to gain advantage of that as well because he was checking up to so that helped you, gave you a little freebie going into turn
definitely.
1.
Yeah, I tried to push as hard as I could to kind of gap as much as possible. I don't know, like Tony's just a lot faster than us, so.
He seemed to be on form. Certainly, his car seems to be suiting him very well. They're getting firsts and seconds every race.
Yeah, very much so.
So he's certainly got this one pretty nailed.
Yeah.
But your thoughts overall in the season? It's been an enjoyable season. Ups and downs,
definitely. I mean, I've had probably my best few races in terms of excitement, anyway, in this season. I think that the Dubai, so the feature race around Dubai was crazy. We had everyone, like top 4 or 5 people within a second or something stupid.
Yeah, pretty much switching positions all race long.
Yeah, exactly. And the same with the sprint race tonight as well. Those first few laps of that first race, I was surprised nothing had gone wrong sooner, to be honest. It was just everyone just changing positions. I made like a slight mistake on lap 2, I think, and I was already in like 5th or 6th. I was like, oh, okay. But then other people do the same, and you suddenly find yourself back up near in the front again. Yeah, it's definitely good fun. The slow cars are much better. I think this with the Ginetta G40, so that you don't get quite so many complete write-offs in incidents.
Yeah, they're a little bit more robust in terms of getting away with a little bit of contact here and there, and not pinging people off all over the place. So
yeah, you can share a bit of paintwork and
indeed. Well, we'll see what they decide to run for the next interim season after season 16. But I'll certainly be interested to see what they decide to go with on that one. Yeah, but I think, as I say, from my shoddy mathematical skills,
Yeah, I think the napkin math can be pretty rough, and I still know know the results. So
yeah.
Well,
So
a 50
I
point
think
system
Ash
here.
Turbo did jump ahead of you
did he? Yeah,
uh,
fair enough.
after race 1,
Yeah.
but I think it was literally by 1 point or so. I think.
Oh, okay.
So with a
That'd be
win,
alright.
then you've taken that back again. So I
Oh, there we
think
go.
you're safe in P2.
Oh, fair
So
enough.
well done to you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
season.
Yep.
Perhaps maybe a little bit, well, maybe not different result with that DNS. Didn't
Yeah,
start for the race 3, but
that'd have been nice. But
I think Tony was pretty much unstoppable.
well, he should
Yeah,
have won it even if he hadn't. So yeah,
indeed.
awesome.
Excellent. Well, I shall let you enjoy the rest of your evening, and
Yep.
I will see if anyone else wants to have a quick
Thank you.
chat with us. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
Who shall
got
we pick up
5
next?
guys here to interview, so don't go yet. If you want
Shall we
to.
bring a couple of guys in all together? Shall we bring in the rest of the guys just in a group and have a little chat with them and see what their thoughts were of the season?
Whoa.
Let's just bring them all in. Let's be crazy.
Oh,
Let's
why not?
get all cozy and
We didn't do that yet. We can
mix up
try.
the social distancing.
We had that in the voice chat today as
We'll bring
well.
everybody in, see what happens. We've left Inky Chris out because we've just had a little chat with him, but we've brought the rest of you guys in here. So
Inky got
observe your
separated.
2-meter social distancing, guys. Sit yourselves in the corner of this little cozy commentary booth. But it's a kind of open question to everybody essentially. But see if we can try and hopefully not all jump in at once. But thoughts of this season? Ups and downs, good points, bad points.
Well, maybe
did you
let's
enjoy it?
start with
Yeah,
Atomic.
we could go with
be
that logical
messy.
sense, I guess.
You have to pick me first, don't you?
Put you on the spot.
You've got A in your nickname, so you're the first one.
No, I think the season went all right. I mean, it was pretty much the same as like the Renault Clio League that we did 6 months ago. Yeah, I think it worked all right. I think for me personally, though, wasn't particularly brilliant. I think Dubai was the only race that I did particularly well at. The other races were a bit poor, unfortunately. Tonight's race, sort of no different, really. Did all right in the sprint race after the initial incident, recovered myself up to P11, which was pretty good, almost P10. But the second race, yeah, just had a bit of a nightmare. So, but yeah, no, the league's been really good. Really enjoyed it.
Excellent, good to hear. We'll just follow that on with JJ. Your thoughts? How the season went for you?
I will speak for only rookie since my champion teammate appears to be too shy to come to the interviews. So yeah, I think we can be very happy with that. Tony was pretty much untouchable, and for myself, coming from a lower tier, I am very happy with my results. Yeah, and tonight even more than usual because I totally missed my qualification and ended up doing 2 good sessions. Yeah, stayed out of trouble. Had some really good fights on every races over the season. So looking forward for whatever comes next in Apex Online Racing.
Indeed, obviously, you'd actually managed to wrap up the team championship last week, in the last race. So you do have that title on for your mantle. But yes, I think probably pulled home in P4 at the end as well. I think
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd have dropped any or gained any tonight. I think you're still holding 4th at this stage, but a very respectable finishing position for a season. It's good to see.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think like you, being consistent paid a lot.
Yeah, just gaining from other people's issues. Exactly.
Well, we had
You don't have to be
Andrex
the fastest
speaking
person in the
about his
car.
consistency all season long.
Yeah, you don't have to be the fastest car on the track to get good results. So as if to prove your point, coming home fourth in the end, very respectable indeed. Well played.
Thank you.
Kiss, any thoughts from you? How did your season go?
Well, I saw a lot of cars from behind. To be honest, I was lapped every race, and it's fine by me. I've been playing Project Cars for a month and a half or something like that, and half the time I've one broken foot, so playing with one foot.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a bit of a challenge. Yeah, I'll give you that.
It was, but it's better now, so it's fine. But it's still hard to get the pace like the other guys. And yes, that's why I tried to stay back and just stay out of the way and drive my own race. And well, this time I ended last, but the other races I didn't end last because of what you're saying. Be careful of yourself, take care of yourself and just relax. But yes, this was my first league, and yes, I was happy with it, and I'm going again for sure, but probably tier 2, tier 3, 4, or something like that.
well, I still remember my starting times. Season 14 in GT3. Well, I was so slow that a guy that's here with us there, Tikus Pico, told I was sandbagging to get into that second tier instead of first. But I know how hard can it be in the beginning, obviously after injury as well for you. So yeah, I think you can get a lot better if you gain experience. Project Cars 2 isn't a really easy starting ground, I must say, from my experience. It was easier to get up to pace in other sims, but yeah, it's fun here in AR, so I hope you will stay for, as you said, for more seasons. Well, we don't have tier 3, 4, 5 here, at least last season, but well, certainly tier 2 will be the place for you, and if you gain more pace, then probably tier 1 as well.
Yeah, let's see about tier 1, but tier 2, yes, and I have to get some fighting. That's what I'm looking for and missing, to be honest, because I'm 2 seconds behind every lap, so it's fine. I'll be ready for next week for sure.
Excellent, good stuff. Good to hear. And kudos for just hanging in there, and the fact that you're aware that you might not have the same pace as some of the other guys on track, but you move over and let people through, and have a lot of respect for the other guys out there. So that's exactly what I want to see.
Exactly.
This is not just aliens only need apply. This is an open league for everybody of all skill levels. So no, it's great to see you coming in every week and then finishing races every week. That's what you need to be doing. So after that, you can work on pace and other things. But yeah, no, it's exactly what I want to be looking for. So
thank you.
Good stuff. Quick word from Rob. You enjoyed the season?
Yeah, I can't complain. I mean, I jumped in a bit one round late in Dubai, I think, Abu Dhabi or wherever, and I was quite way off the pace. And I think I talked to you that race and said I'm looking to get into the top 7. If I can get that sort of pace, I'd be happy. And I think I've
You did in some races.
I just need to work on sort of staying consistent, and my racecraft needs to up itself a bit. And obviously in qualifying, I don't seem to be anywhere near what I know I can do in the races consistently. So, but other than that, I mean, the season's been great. The tracks have been great. I've had some brilliant racing in the last 2 rounds actually, and yeah, I can't really complain. I just got to look for the next championship to take part in. So yeah, brilliant stuff.
Excellent, good stuff. That's good to hear. Very encouraging. Yeah, and again, it's just something that everyone just gets better the more time you spend in there. So the old adage of practice. Yeah, well, lap times and racecraft will improve over time, for sure. And last but by no means least, everyone's favourite coordinator, Mr. TPW Ticklish Pickle Wickle himself. What's your take on this season?
First of all, I'm absolutely flattered by your words.
Nah, bless.
No,
well,
but
I'm a coordinator as well.
no, I mean, I'm probably gonna speak for the the general experience of the league. And I think compared to many other of our interim leagues, filler leagues, whatever you want to call it, it's actually been surprisingly good and probably the least carnage-filled one so far. And that is actually pretty ironic since we're probably in the most fragile car we've done to date. So I'm quite happy about that. At least that's from my personal experience. I've obviously been involved in a few incidents here and there, but nothing too major or anything. And I think those of us who did the Clio Cups can remember back to round 1 in that league. That was absolutely shit show. Sorry for the language, but
It's okay. We'll beep that out later.
no, but that's pretty much the truth about that. And I think this league was very good. Obviously, I think we can maybe also connect it to that we maybe had 1/3 new drivers, which I think like from most of those new drivers have done a very good job keeping it clean and also being competitive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of like much more close racing that I would have thought we would get from this car. So overall, I'm very happy about it. And I want to add, I can hear some of you guys are eager to get racing again. We are very much in the planning of the new GT3 season, so
Yes.
about a week's time, we will probably have the signups out for that. So yeah, that should be good as well.
Excellent. Good to hear. And in terms of your own personal championship, in terms of races yourself there, just looking at some of the results there, you had a couple of DNSs in race 2 and 3 at Dubai, I think that was, but other results look pretty strong there. 4th and a 6th in the first couple of races, and a podium last week there as well. So, barring any potential other issues, I think you maybe finished a little bit lower than your potential, just being hurt probably quite massively by those 2 DNSs. But certainly promising in terms of where you perhaps aim to finish for maybe next interim league.
Also,
Yeah.
a few accidents today, twice close to the podium. So also pretty much unlucky stuff, making those results a little bit worse, but certainly not the pace that was up to par.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I enjoy. Obviously, obviously, a lot of it is that I'm actually competitive here. That's good, obviously, but I mean, if you look at some of the guys who were in Tier 2 GT3 this season, season 14 or 15, sorry. Jack Game, who finished, who is 5th right now. I'm not sure where he is after this, but and also JJP actually, who I was racing very closely with this very race tonight. They're both in Tier 2, and you don't really see that from their results. They're very competitive, and I think that's a very it's pretty much a result of these cars being very equal, and obviously we have the same setups and all this stuff, and the car is not that fast, which generally the slower the car, the closer the racing. So yeah, I mean that's the primary thing that I like about this is everyone can be competitive because everyone is given sort of equal opportunity, so to speak.
Indeed, and as if to match that as well, just looking at Tier 1 drivers from the previous GT3 league. So we've got people like your Inky Chris and Yogurt and As Turbo and so on that were generally getting fairly good results in that GT3 league, podiums, wins, and all sorts. Tony Clifton didn't really have a fantastic season 15, yet he has absolutely dominated this season in this car. which is great to see. Getting some fantastic results, literally winning every race apart from 3, and on the 3 races he didn't win, he came second. So pretty much blitzing everyone else. So yeah, it's good to see that on paper it might be maybe a little bit predictable, but then you're getting people that are just showing for some fantastic driving ability. Maybe a little bit out of the blue, not out of the blue, because he's certainly no slow driver by any stretch. A lot of respect for the guy on the track there. He is a quick driver for sure. But if you looked at the standings and the sign-ups, I don't think he would have been putting himself on the top spot before the season kicked off. So it's good to see that there's people kind of not punching above their weight, but doing perhaps better than they perhaps might have expected earlier on, and to do it consistently as well is great to see as well.
Well, we sadly don't have Tony today with us in the commentator box, but we still have a great company. So thank you everyone for your time, and I think
Thank you for having us.
we are pretty much ready to wrap this up. Last race of this interim league season. Great racing, very close. I think also a nice choice of tracks. Every race has been pretty much close and competitive. So, Andrex, do you have anything that you want to add?
No, it's just been some fantastic racing out there. There's been some little bits of scrappy racing as well, but you get that in pretty much every league, wherever you go. But yeah, for people that like what they see, get yourself onto the Apex Online forum. Obviously, Tickle Pickle there just dropping a hint that there's going to be the announcement for the upcoming season 16 of the GT3 League. So if you are interested in that, get yourself onto the forum. Look out for that post when that gets put up, and get yourself signed up for that. Come and join in the racing. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up for tonight. Some very entertaining racing throughout the season. We hope you all enjoyed it watching at home, and we hope you tune in for further racing in the future as well.
Yep, so again, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for your time in the interviews, and see you next time probably in the GT3 League.